Good morning, everyone. In this video, I would like to show you some really cool things that are happening in Blackboard, both here at North and a couple classes, other classes in the district, just to hopefully give you an idea of things that you maybe could be doing in Blackboard that you are not currently doing. Start over here on the left, and we have this is a geometry class, blended geometry class with Kristen Hubman here at North and Dan Paczynski at West. And what I really wanted to highlight here was this module-based part of Blackboard that they do, which gives the outline here, which is good. But you also have the notes that you can get in a PDF file, which works really well on an iPad. But also we have some videos that they could go to, and you can see it takes us out to Vimeo as a link. Vimeo is another service that's YouTube-like, but it's not exactly YouTube. And back here, what I really like about what they do here is, first of all, it's a cross-building PLC utilizing the same Blackboard course, which I think is fantastic. But you can see they actually have formative assessment here that's going to be right in Blackboard. It's not going to open up right away for us, so let's click on it. And here it is. And they do this test in Blackboard, which I think is fantastic. We have Blackboard as a tool. It has a lot of different things that maybe you don't already use just because you don't know what you don't know. And so to make a test, you would want to go down here to evaluation, class tools, mistake there, Dale. And you would want to go to test surveys and pools. And this is where you would go through and create a test. Once you create a test, and you would go in here, and I'm not going to mess anything up, Kristen, don't worry. You can see these are the different tests that have been created in Blackboard. And so once you've created it, and it's a pretty basic step-by-step process in terms of creating them, and you build it, you can see here, build a test. When you go back into your basic part of Blackboard where you can add things, you go to assessments and you launch a test. And you click on the test you've created, and you go from there. And so just a really nice example of module number one, module-based, and letting kids move at maybe a faster pace or a class pace, or if a kid doesn't understand a concept, they move a little bit slower. But also the cross-building PLC that Kristen and Dan have. Our next example here is Taylor Bramschreiber. In AP US History, a great use of Blackboard, I think, is over on the left side. He does have a lot of his units that he's working on here, but what I really like here is he has a substitute folder, which I think is a fantastic way to utilize Blackboard. You know, the days of where you have to you don't feel comfortable with a sub, or you don't quite know what kind of sub you're going to get, and you pop in a video, you can have real learning happen with a sub here. And so Taylor has a substitute folder, and he has the sub tell the kids, and the kids already know. They go to the substitute folder and they click on the link, and it'll bring them to, for Taylor here, a Google Doc. And this Google Doc gives them exactly what they should be working on, which I think is a really efficient use of Blackboard and an efficient use of students' time. So substitute folder is maybe something, if you haven't thought of it already, is a good way to use Blackboard. Our next example comes from across town here. This is a person that teaches AP US History at West. This is an example of somebody who, and this is Kevin Hyde, he actually taught here, I think, 1 year. This is an example of maybe wanting to use a different platform other than Blackboard, but using Blackboard as a sort of a conduit to get to that. And so you can see here, Kevin has a Google site. And in that Google site, he's able to do a lot of the same things that you can do in Blackboard. But everything's integrated with Google. And you can see here, if I go over here and I click on semester 1 unit, you can see he's got videos and he has handouts and he has all the different things that you can do in Blackboard. You can do this on a Google site as well. The advantage to Blackboard is that when you sign in as a parent, parents are able to see all classes in one spot. And as a parent of a 6th grader right now, I can tell you that is a useful thing to be able to go in and see this class, this class, this class, all in one spot. And so the kids, they could always just go to Kevin's website, but he also has it embedded right here into Blackboard. And so what he's done is he's just created a link here, an embedded website, and he put it in right there using an embed code. as an item. And so that's a fantastic way to use Blackboard, batch enroll kids, have kids in their listing of classes, have Blackboard, but also be able to go out to this other resource if that's what you'd like to use. So thank you, Kevin. Okay, this next website brings us back to North, and this is Greta Voigt and Physics. And what I really like here is the ability to give students directions in a video. And so what Greta has here is she has a video on how to submit her files electronically. And you can see what I really like about this is it's a YouTube video that is embedded right in her class. And so it uses the great power of YouTube, and you can upload YouTube videos and make them unlisted so they're not public, and you're able to let students see them. This on an iPad would play right on the iPad, very YouTube friendly. But you can see here, it's right at the front. If students want to watch it again, they can watch it again. It's sort of have that, that whole idea of having a video lesson or a flip. I wouldn't say it's a flip lesson, but it's the ability for students to go back and actually watch the teacher submitting the form or the file electronically. And so I think that's a great use of Blackboard, to be able to put videos up of things that you want students to be able to know and do later. This is my friend Mark Anderson. He is a teacher at West High School also. This is, and I love what he's done here, he has given his lesson plans right in the front page of Blackboard. And what he does here is he links everything out. This is a lot of online schools do this same thing. And this is how he's done it. This, by the way, is a Google Doc. Okay, and so what he's done is he's created a Google Doc, and in that Google Doc he's provided links to all the things that kids are going to do. And so in our schedule of seeing kids 4 days, you might not see kids on the same day, so he's labeled them as day 1, day 2, day 3, and day 4. And all the U.S. history classes have that. And you can see any kind of homework or any kind of resource that's going to be used is linked. And so if a kid wants to see where that is for that lesson, he or she can click there, and it will take them to the Google Doc right in Blackboard. Okay, this on an iPad would work probably best in Safari mode, and Safari would open this up in a new tab. So this, again, a different way. Now, a different way to do this kind of thing is if we go to Mary DiMaggio's AP Biology class. This is a really interesting use of Blackboard in that she's embedded a Google Calendar. Okay, and so Blackboard has its own calendar function, certainly usable, and you would be able to use that for your students to see what's happening in class. But a really cool thing she's done here is she's actually put a Google Calendar and used the embed code and put it into Blackboard so that when students click on this day, they can see learning target, agenda, all the different things that is going to happen in day 1, day 2, and day 3. Again, with our 4-day schedule, very, very logical way to do this. Goldfish lab, these different things that happen, just a really great way to keep kids organized and have them know what's happening. To my own Blackboard courses, this is sort of my play course that I use for trainings. This is a discussion board. And that's not a great picture of me there, but I really like the fact that in the discussion board you can put a video, and in that video you can allow students to make posts. And again, if you want to do a discussion board, here's right where you have it, and you're able to put that discussion board right into your class page. And so if we go in here to, let's go to Unit 1 files here, and we build our content, maybe, okay, and we go to discussion board actually under the tools, you can launch that select discussion board. Okay, and if I click on that test and I submit that, I can give, type your directions here. And you can submit that. Once you submit that, what you'll see is, and I clicked something wrong here, that discussion board will go down to the bottom. And here I called it test. And so when you click on test, that discussion board will be launched. Okay, and when it's launched, you want to create a thread. Click create thread, and you go from there. And it's much like any other discussion board tool that you've used. Having used this in a class before, this is a fantastic, and from my vantage point, one of the best parts of Blackboard is this online discussion board. It takes some time to teach students how to do that. They're not natively able to understand how to conduct an online discussion board, but with some coaching, they do a fantastic job. It took a little time to train my kids, but once I did, I had some phenomenal discussions with kids that wouldn't utter a word in class. And so the discussion board is a great part of Blackboard. Going down here, some of these things that I've mentioned and are in the iTunes U course here is under class tools. And you'll see here that you can do the tests that we saw earlier. You can use, one of the things you could use would be Safe Assign. And Safe Assign is a plagiarism checker, and is a cool way to submit assignments. You can also create a blog or have your class calendar. Certainly in this one video I couldn't go through all of these things, but these things are parts of Blackboard that maybe are underutilized here at North so far. The last course I want to show you will be an old class of mine in which I used the blog part of Blackboard. In the previous versions of Blackboard, the blog was a fantastic discussion board style of writing. And so in here, if I go to the blogs portion on the left-hand side, you'll see I had Unit 1, Unit 2 blog. Now, I've taken students out of these classes, and so you'll see there's really no entries. But if I go into this Unit 2 blog, what you'll see is the prompt that I've given them and had students write a blog in Blackboard. And when you click Create the Blog Entry, what's really neat is the students are able to go in here and have all of the different, in this content editor, they can attach videos. And I had students that under this prompt had gone out and looked for videos that went with their answers. And so this is a great in-house, in Blackboard way to have students blog. Now, is it public on the web? No, it's not. But it's public within your Blackboard course. And students are able to comment back and forth on different blogs. Again, where do you find blogs? When you go into the class tools, you'll see that blogs are right down here. And when you click on blogs, you'll see the ones that I've already created. When you go into a content editor here, when you go into tools, blogs will be right there. And you'll be able to create a blog and then launch a blog. And that really in Blackboard, when you're doing some of these advanced tools, whether it's assessment or blogs or discussion boards, you create them and then you launch them. And certainly if you have questions on that, I would love to sit down with you and help you work on those things as well. Thanks for watching, and I hope that this opened your eyes to some new things that you could do in Blackboard and will help enhance your classes.